We live. Instagram, YouTube. What's going on? Presidential election. It's just marketing. It's just marketing. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about how much Joe Biden paid to be president. We're going to talk about how much Joe Biden paid to be president. We're going to talk about how much Trump paid to be president. We're going to talk about how much Hillary Clinton paid to market herself to be president. And it may or may not have been more than Trump spent. But we're going to understand how no matter what business that you're in, no matter what product you're selling, no matter what service you're providing, you absolutely have to understand marketing. You have to understand advertising. And in order to grow any business, in order to grow the sales of any product, in order to be able to distribute the product, get more people to like it, get more people to love it, make more money with it, live on the beaches, whatever you're trying to do, got to be able to market. Got to be able to advertise. And if you are somebody who looks at where, based off the information that's available, if you perceive America to be a company, a corporation, based off the structure, based off the understanding of who you are, who they are, then you can start to understand more about who and what is going on, because it's all just marketing. So I'm just sending out some additional emails to invite some more people on. So if you tuned in on Instagram, if you tuned in on Facebook, if you tuned in on YouTube, appreciate you tapping in. I just want to have a conversation about where things are when it comes to the presidential campaign. So let me just send this email out real quick. You know, the presidential campaign, they are what they are. And I'm going to break down to you how it's all just based off advertising and marketing. And if we're going to feel some type of way about these big companies like Facebook, Google, Apple, leveraging data to advertise and market to us, if we really got a problem with it, we're going to understand what's going on with the presidential campaign. Or we're going to understand what's going on with the presidential campaigns, how it's just marketing, advertising, and we're going to be upset and we're going to talk a lot. Or we're going to look at it for what it is, take what we learned from that, and be able to apply that to how we operate, how we maneuver, so that we can do what it is that they're doing. because it's all marketing. It's all advertising. That just is what it is. That just is what it is. So I appreciate y'all who are tuned in right now. If you're just tuning in, sending out just some emails before we get into everything. Presidential. I do what I teach. So that's what I'm doing. Email. Boom. Oh. All right. So when we talk about marketing, when we talk about the presidential campaigns, when we talk about Joe Biden, when we talk about Donald Trump, when we were speaking about Hillary Clinton, when we were talking about Barack Obama, let's look at just the facts that are there on what it took to be able to market and advertise themselves, because we got to look at the TV ads that you saw, the radio advertisements that you saw, the social media advertisements that you saw, when you went to websites, what you saw, the events that you saw in your community or in your state, in your city, and understanding what and why they were doing that, and how you should look at how presidents market the campaign, how much they're spending in order to market on a national level to be able to become the elite, and understand, one, how it's possible for you to be able to take what it is that they're doing to advertise and market and apply it to your business, but also to see that based on what it is they're doing, based on what it is they're spending, it's not out of reach for you to be able to create some sort of result with your business. So when we talk about, let's look at Michael Bloomberg. Michael Bloomberg ran in 2020. I'm pulling up Google so I can give you accurate information about Michael Bloomberg. All right. Michael Bloomberg, he ran in 2020. He put up a lot of his own money when it came to his campaign in 2020, to the excess of $500 million in his primary campaign. In 2016, Donald Trump spent $398 million on marketing and advertising in the 2016 election. In that same year, Hillary Clinton spent in excess of over $790 million, I believe, 790 million, I believe. So I did the research because I found this interesting, and I wanted to share it with y'all and break it down. $768 million in the 2016 election is what Hillary Clinton spent. In this election, she lost. So we're going to talk about that in a second. In 2020, to become president of the United States, Joe Biden spent $1 billion in advertising and marketing to do what it needs to do to expose itself, to market itself, to become president of the United States. So regardless of how you feel about either candidate, this conversation is not about how you feel about either candidate, what you think, who you voted for. That's not the purpose of this conversation. The purpose of this conversation is to look at what it is that they did, what it is that they were doing, what it took to market nationally, even though they were on a global scale. The people that impacted them becoming president were domestic, and how much they spent. Joe Biden, to be elected, spent $1 billion on marketing and advertising to become president of the United States of America as he currently stands right now in 2024, what he spent on his election in 2020. This is information that I just looked up on the internet. I'm not saying it's to the penny. I'm not saying that this is to the hundreds of million, but understanding that $1 billion and it's set to be the record of what was spent on a presidential marketing campaign to market and advertise. So if we look at what it takes for them to become president, and we chunk that down, meaning we bring that down to a level where you are, as a small business owner, as an entrepreneur, as somebody who's looking to start selling products or services, and understanding that the digital space is the space where you marketing, advertise, and then looking at what was spent in dollars on marketing and advertising by presidential candidates, then you can start to understand that in this world of business, in this world of entrepreneurship, especially as it is in 2020, 2024, especially as it is in 2024, then we got to look at how competitive the space is because of 2020. 2019, 2020 is a lot of people that looked at the things that were happening globally, what hit us globally, what we were dealing with, what the challenges that we had because of XYZ, and how much that forced people to go online with the business they currently had, and also how much it forced people to start looking at creating some sort of side hustle, leveraging the online space. So as we look at the economy and we look at inflation of how much the price per good is, and how much you're spending at the grocery store for your groceries, how much you're spending for your gas, how much you're spending for your haircuts, how much you're spending for your nails compared to what it was, the marketplace as far as what we're spending has increased. But we can't just subjugate the inflation to how much it is that we're spending. We also have to understand that the market in general is inflated, especially with the rush of people who started businesses because of what was going on in the economy, because of what was going on globally in 2019, 2020. And understanding that the market is inflated with people who are creating their side hustle as well. And as somebody who's a marketer, somebody who understands marketing, understands psychology, yes, I pay attention to what the market is doing, and I mold strategies so that I can be true to myself, I can be true to my business, but also capitalize on the trends in the marketplace. That's marketing. But also understanding that when you are building your business, when you are building and sharing your opportunity, when you are creating products, that because the market is inflated with people who came and rushed online, that market is extremely competitive. And that market is extremely competitive because more people are in it, as well as there are more problems that are needing to be solved. And a lot of people are competing in the same markets, in the same space, trying to create the same results and neglecting a whole lot of problems that they could solve because they see what's trending online. And if you're going to play in a market that's trending online, that's competitive online, then you got to understand that it's not just about your organic reach. It's not just about you going viral. It's not just about you thinking that you got a good product to sell. It's not just about you paying an influencer a couple of $100, couple $1,000 to create content about your product, about your service, to create some UGC content. And all of that is necessary. Don't get me wrong. I'm not speaking against all of that, because all that has its place. All that is utilized when it's needed, and all that is part of a holistic system that you have to have in place. But just feeling like you got to focus on this UGC or you got to focus on doing that, there's a whole bunch of stuff that you got to do in order to compete in this marketplace, because there's an influx of people who are now competing for the same attention that you are competing for in a marketplace that has a lot of the same problems, and most people are competing to solve those same problems. I know I don't want that to go over your heads, but this is what it is I'm saying. Having a business in today's market, a side hustle, we're growing to a place where you're going to have to look at it as not just a side hustle, but a necessary hustle. You're going to have to develop not just a skill set, but multiple skill sets in order to compete in a marketplace that's already inflated. And when we talk about competition, we look at how much was spent from Joe Biden breaking a record of $1 billion. $1 billion that he spent on marketing and advertising in a highly competitive world. So this puts into perspective. You can name a billionaire. You can name two. Could probably name a few. So $1 billion may not necessarily be conceivable to you currently to achieve, but you can name somebody who achieved it. So if that's what was spent on marketing and advertising in order to become president of the United States, then in order to create $100,000 with your products or service, you can look at it's nowhere near becoming president of the United States, and is achievable based on just understanding your niche. They're marketing to a nation of people. You're marketing to a select group of people who are in a nation, and with social media, you have the opportunity to expand your brand globally. Our ancestors, the baby boomers, they had access to information. They had access to certain education. We have access to the world as far as marketing and advertising to be able to share our products and services. When we talk about marketing, we also have to look at the fact that in 2016, Hillary Clinton spent $768 million on marketing and advertising, compared to Donald Trump spending $398 million on marketing and advertising, and Donald Trump won. Why? Now we have to look at the importance of a brand, the importance of being relatable, being able to speak to the needs of people. One of the things that Donald Trump team did is they researched people that were like any campaign. They researched people who were most likely to vote Democratic and most likely to vote Republican. and determined that those people had already made up their mind, and they determined that their target market was the people who were on the fence. Those were the people who needed to be swayed. And they determined and analyzed what those people looked like. And 2 years prior to the 2016 campaign was getting on these talk shows and these radio shows that the audience of those people who fit that demographic, who were what they, I forget what they call them. They had a specific name for them. Anyway, but they had a specific name for those people who were on the fence, and they specifically targeted those people and focused advertising. So they developed a target market and focused all of their messaging, all of their energy directly towards that group of people, because those were the people who could be swayed. Those were the people who need to make a decision. Because the marketplace was so polarizing, with being a Republican or being a Democrat, conservative, liberal, that whole conversation, they understood that trying to convert a liberal to a conservative or conservative to a liberal was possible, but it wasn't something that was going to win the presidency. So they focused a lesser amount of money, $398 million, compared to Hillary Clinton's $768 million. They focused their advertising and marketing there. So they were able to spend almost a little bit more than like between a third and 2/3 the amount of Hillary Clinton. But because they had a specific market, and because he had a brand that he had built that was relatable to people, and he understood the market and where it was, and people were against the establishment, and people were tired of the Washington or the political swamp, as they call it. And they wanted something drastically different, because what we had been trying, they felt wasn't working. So being able to align themselves with somebody who was giving them opportunity because of the brand he had built, of the Trump brand, as a business owner, and market himself as a billionaire, whether he was or he wasn't, that's up for debate. And I'm not here to debate that, because I don't have the facts. I don't know. You can go and be in somebody else's comments about that. But generally understanding what marketing is, and that it took $1 billion, which was record breaking for Joe Biden to become president of the United States. He spent $1 billion on marketing and advertising. You can research this information yourself. And so in order to become president, if he spent $1 billion on marketing and advertising, you got to understand that you're going to have to spend some type of money on marketing and advertising for your business. A lot of creators, graphic designers, content creators, artists, you focus so much on the art, you forget about the marketing and the advertising. But if nobody knows about your art, if nobody knows about what it is you're creating, if nobody knows about the products and projects that you're working on, it doesn't matter how creative you are, because especially in today's world, where we got to look at the introduction of AI to the marketplace. So if we're looking at the introduction of AI to the marketplace, then creating content, it don't take a lot. Your creativity is going to be the outlier on the type of content that's created, but you still have to market that content for people to understand the level of content that you're able to create. I've been across a lot of people, came across a lot of people, talked to a lot of people that felt just because they feel like they were super duper creative, that their product or their service should be what everybody wants. And they felt some type of way because people weren't rocking with it like they thought that they should. But it's about being able to market and advertise whatever it is that you have to the right people, and understanding who the people are psychologically what their problem is and how you can help increase their quality of life. And when you're marketing, that's a simple thing that you can look at, not just what your product is, but how does my product help increase the quality of life of the audience that I'm targeting. And I use this example a lot, but if I'm looking to market a product that helps people drop pounds from a fitness perspective, then I need to be able to connect with them on why they want to lose or drop those pounds. Are they getting prepared for their summer body? Are they trying to have more opportunity to spend and energy to spend time with their kids? Are they wanting to get into a dress? Are they getting ready for a wedding? Did they just have a baby and trying to get back to what it is they were? Understanding why they want to lose that weight and being able to position your product or service to them in a manner that helps them see their result that they want is going to benefit you and it's going to help you sell more products and services. Spending money to advertise to that specific market of people, to create messaging for that specific market of people, is going to help you sell more products and services. Joe Biden and Trump, Hillary Clinton, they spent hundreds of millions of dollars and even up to $1 billion on marketing and advertising, because it's about being in front of people. It's about getting people's attention. It's about creating conversation about it. When they talk about they're up in the polls in this market or they're down in the polls in this market, they start looking at they're down with this type of voter. They're down with the blue collar worker. They're down with the black and Hispanic or whatever market it is. Then they look and analyze that market and look at the data and the surveys based off these big data companies, and they research to understand what it is that they can do to appeal to those markets better and get in front of them with that messaging to drive traffic to them. So they have certain messaging towards a specific demographic. They have certain messaging towards another demographic. They have certain messages that they contribute effort to analyzing so that they can communicate better. When we look at marketing in 2024, you have to understand that marketing is extremely competitive, and no matter how good you structured your LLC, no matter how great your Shopify store is, no matter how much you willing to spend on influencer marketing, no matter how long it took you to write that ebook, none of that matters unless you understand the people that you're marketing to. Unless you understand the people who are interested and have the problems that you're looking to offer. None of that matters. Not whatsoever. Let me see what this do. None of that matters. None of that matters. None of that matters. It took $1 billion to become president in an extremely competitive market. $1 billion is a lot for the average person, including myself. I'm not saying like it's not, but what we have to understand is we know now a $2 trillion company, Apple, now $2 trillion evaluated company. So $1 billion in comparison to what the marketplace is not a lot in that comparison. And creating advertising budgets and knowing who you're targeting, knowing what problems they have, and then creating messaging, marketing, and advertising, and then putting the dollars behind that is going to allow you to transform your marketing, your advertising, who it is that you're communicating with, and sell more products. This the nerd stuff that people don't necessarily want to tell you about. This the nerd stuff that people don't sell you, but this is the stuff that you need. So I was just doing some research and I decided to come on here live and share that with y'all, so y'all can understand that advertising, marketing is necessary. Understanding who you're marketing to is necessary. Understanding the reason why they want whatever it is that you're marketing to them, whatever product or service you have, is necessary. And selling more products and services is just based on how well you know your customers. So I just want to share that with y'all. I'll see y'all later. Peace.